Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Edward Jr. and welcome to my world. In my world, I'm gonna start off by starting out when I was 16 years old. I'd like to start my story. Here's a story of a young guy who graduated high school early, but also had dyslexia. So I was told I was never gonna graduate high school. I was told I never could speak in front of people, but here I am today. And in this story, you'll hear a story about me going from high school to wanting to go to college and joining the military and how I actually got to the military. The story goes like this. I asked my father one day to take me to school. He told me he was going to take me, and that never happened. So I found myself walking downtown Memphis, Tennessee, and I searched high and low for every military service possible to take me in. I went to the Army, and they said, you have to wait 6 months. You're not ready yet. You're 16 years old. I went to the Navy, they said you had to wait 6 months. I went to the Coast Guard, I couldn't swim. And I went to the Army, I had to wait 6 months. And I found myself sitting on the side of a curb. At the side of this curb, I met this guy who was 6'6", 285-pound man. He had these long white pants on, this nice navy blue jacket on. He asked me what was I doing. I said, hey, I want to join your team. I like your uniform. He said, come back to me in 2 months and you can join. I told him I said I'd be dead in 2 months if I didn't join. And that was the Marine Corps. And to this day, I joined the Marine Corps without ever taking an ass baptism. And I don't know how I got there, but I did. And from this journey on, I was able to find myself spending 20 years in the Marine Corps, doing great things I'm supposed to do out there, and honorable discharge from the Marine Corps. But my story takes a dramatic change. After the Marine Corps, I became homeless. I want you to imagine fighting for this country day in and day out, only to get out and you find yourself homeless. How did I get there? Well, the Marine Corps taught me how to fight. They teach me about finances. The Marine Corps taught me how to fight. They teach me about family. They were my family. They were my security blanket. But I found myself living outside of the bank called Naval Federal Credit Union with my 2-year-old daughter. I want you to imagine that for a second. She's 2 years old. And every day we going back and forth from school, back behind this bank, and I'm bathing her at the YMCA, and we drinking, I'm boiling water from the snow, and I'm stirring it up and making sure there's no parasites in it so we can have that to drink. And I'm dumpster diving from one trash can to the next just to have food. That was some of the most strangest times in my life, but it kept me going. And I can remember my daughter always telling me throughout this time, Dad, what are we gonna eat tonight? And I always tell her chicken nuggets. So I want you to imagine your daughter, your son, your children surviving off chicken nuggets for 9 months. That's not a very healthy diet for any child, not for long, for anybody, right? But we survived, we survived. Every day I would go to school, not in the best of smelling situations, but we survived. And I'm grateful because that little girl was my bright light. She pushed her father to make sure her father didn't give up. She became my wife for living, because without her, I wouldn't be talking to you in front of this camera. See, life itself takes you on journeys you never expect. But life for me took me on a journey that changed my life forever. Every day I would see my daughter's face, and we will go out to different parts of the city and pretend to be at Disney World, or we pretend to be at the park when we couldn't go because it's dead of winter. And I could see her saying, well, Dad, where are we going next? I'm saying, we're going to the mansion. My room, your room. My toys, your toys. But I sat in that car night after night crying, hoping that we don't die from the engine running all night long in that car. But I know for a fact there had someone praying for me, had someone looking over me. Not only was it encouragement from my daughter, but it was an encouragement from above. I thank him every day for shedding his light for me one more time. So after being homeless, I was able to commandeer an apartment. But I knew for a fact there was something beyond me that was making these things happen and shift in my favor. I knew for a fact it was not just a plan, but a plan that got me to this point today. Why am I telling you all this? Because I had to go through it. Because I understand what some of you are going through at this moment. I know what it feels like to not have a home. I know what it feels like to have rocks thrown at you. I know what it feels like to be spit upon. I know what it feels like to have your babies crying in the middle of the night saying they're hungry. I know what it feels like because I was there. I know what it feels like to think like you have no hope. But there is hope. There is a way. And my way may not be your way, but this is my journey. My journey comes by way of faith, knowing, understanding, and gaining as much wisdom as possible. After I became free from being homeless, I was able to come into an apartment with no furniture in it, but it was ours. I got a job at Big Blue, known as IBM. Great company, but I knew that wasn't enough for me or my baby. knew it wasn't enough. So I continued to go to school. I got my BA, got my MBA. I got two MBAs actually. Went to Harvard, gained my PhD from Concordia University. But all that education didn't give me the wisdom I needed to move forward in my life. It was more for me. I worked at a company called Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. I worked 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, making $100 grand a year. But that wasn't enough because at the end of the day, 16 hours a day, it came out to be less than $16.27 an hour. You do the math on that. So I quit that job. I quit. Here's why. I knew that my journey I was on was bigger than myself. I had a mission, and that mission was to become the best version of myself as possible. So I quit that job, and I had $34.41 in my bank account. And I started a janitorial company. I bought a mop, a broom, a bucket, and a bottle of Pine Sol. And from that opportunity that I was given, that company netted me over $17 million. Not by work by these hands, but works made by the Most High. See, there's a system to what we do. There's a mission that we think that we're on. But what happens when your dreams are smaller than His dreams? His dreams are much, much bigger than you can ever imagine. But it took my faith in something bigger than myself to put me on a mission that guided me from being homeless to where I am today. So here's my encouragement to you. No matter what situation that you're in, no matter what mind frame that you're in, just know this much here. You're not by yourself. There is someone out there who's hoping, who's praying, who's fighting with you and for you. Hey, that's my time. My name is Dr. Edward Burns Jr. It's been a plum, pleasant pleasure. And thank you for watching my channel.